Horsepower's budget Hemi's back. This time for a 2-stage hop-up in a quest for more power. Also today, the ultimate outrageous test of a power programmer with, of all things, a tractor pull sled.
If you have a Hemi, how can you resist hopping it up? Well, we can't, and that's why we dragged our 5.7 liter out of storage. Months ago, we bought it on the internet from B&R. It came out of a Dodge truck after only 50,000 miles of use. After tearing it down, we dunked the heads and a lot of other components in our ultrasonic cleaner. The only things new we added were Molly pistons and a Modman intake manifold. Then, using a fast EFI and MSD controller, the engine cranked out 400 horsepower, 55 over stock. Today, we're going to improve on that with a cam upgrade that you can handle at home in your Hemi in the vehicle. We're upgrading to this Camshaft tri-power hydraulic roller. It has a gross valve lift, a 483 intake, 477 exhaust. Duration at 50 thousandths lift is 210 and 218. A lot of numbers, but only one modification you need, a new tune from a handheld programmer.
We have to remove everything up front, including the balancer. Then loosen and lower the front of the oil pan. Remove the timing cover, oil pump, valve covers, and the rocker shafts. Next, we need to remove the spark plugs and turn the engine over so the timing marks on the gears are at 6 o'clock on the bottom and 12 o'clock high noon on top. That way we know the timing set's going to go back on exactly where it came off and we're on top dead center. Now after removing the cam plate, I'm going to install this new TrickFlow TrackMax cam handle and spin it a few times to make sure the lifters are out of the way. Now I can carefully pull out the stock cam. Now the newer Hemis resemble LS's in a lot of respect, like the way the lifters stay in their bores. After washing the factory film off the new cam and applying lube, it's ready to go in. While it's a little more aggressive than stock, this cam is designed to make power in the 1200 to 5700 RPM range. Now this handle fits all types of camshafts and makes removal and installation a lot easier.
Now for reassembly. And everything goes back together the way it came apart. After this, we can change the oil, pouring fresh oil purple right into the heads. Well, like before, we're using this MSD Hemi 6 ignition controller. First, plugging the harness into the coil packs, then the crank and map sensor.
We're reusing our fast, self-tuning EFI system. Now it includes a throttle body we mount to the Modman intake from Indy, and a harness we install, beginning with the temp coolant sensor and the number 1 and 2 injectors. Now next, an O2 sensor that connects to the harness, along with the fast ECU. Now the last thing is this easy EFI ECU. It's what controls the entire system, and it can be mounted inside or outside the car because it's weather tight. Now that we've got power to everything, we're ready to enter all the parameters for our Hemi into the handheld programmer. Now it has a setup wizard, and all you do is follow the prompts. Enter the parameters for your engine, and pretty soon you'll be ready to go. All we need now is a fuel cell full of 93 octane, and we're good to fire it up. All right, here we go. Nice, easy fire up. All right, just let it do its thing.
Now, just like the hippie days when this engine was first really popular, it's got to find itself. It takes a few minutes for the fast computer to gather the information and set the parameters.
You ready?
Yep, I'm ready. 5,500, right?
Yeah.
Let's see.
Yeah, for the first pull. All right, 395, 382 at 55. Things climbing pretty progressively too. All right, here we go. 6,000 pull. That's where we made our power before.
Yeah, it's gonna like this.
We're making some power now. 428, 419. 28 horsepower over our base from previous with the factory cam in it.
We're going to back that up with one more run.
431, yeah. 431, 424. It's nice to see all this stuff work well together, huh?
Graph, that's pretty
Scale it. Man, look at that power curve, just as smooth as can be.
So for a little labor without removing the engine and $300 for the cam, we picked up 31 horsepower. Very nice. Or as the hippies would say, out of sight, man. After a moderate cam upgrade and reprogramming the computer, we hiked our Hemi's horsepower 31 more for a peak of 431. No stopping now, though. The best should be yet to come. That's because we're stepping up to the next level of making power with a pretty serious head swap. In fact, they're stage 2s from Patriot Performance. Now, to get the most out of them, though, yep, another cam swap. This time, an extreme hydraulic roller from Comp. Now, just for the insurance of it, we're also going to swap timing sets. This is a Chloe's 4-piece unit.
This Extreme has a basic operating range from 2,000 to 6,200 RPM. And it's ground for a ramp profile that lifts the valves to 547 on the intake, 550 on the exhaust. Intake duration at 50 is 224 and 228. We haven't ran this engine enough to mandate a timing set swap, but it's always a good idea anytime you swap cams.
Here's why this stage 2 head's superior to the one it's replacing. First, the stock springs were fine for a mild upgrade, but the stage 2s are not only stiffer, they can handle up to 600 thousandths of lift from the cam. Unlike the stock head's runners, these are CNC ported using a custom program. On the other side, Patriot's valves are 202 intake and 157 exhaust, compared to the OE 2-inch and 155. Of course, the bottom line, better flow. Here's a Flowbench intake side comparison of a stock Hemi head in green and one of Patriot's in blue. Notice there's not much difference until about 500 inch lift and above. That extra flow translates to more top-end horsepower.
In addition to new gaskets, new heads always require new bolts to achieve a proper torque spec. With oil in the thread, we can cinch them down and torque them in sequence of 25 and 40 foot-pounds, finishing up with a 90-degree torque yield. With that done, everything else goes back in place for a second time. Once the fast software has reprogrammed itself and Elmore returned from his flashback, it's time to rock on.
We're up to 443 horsepower. That's 12 more than earlier with the cam upgrade. Surely we can beat that. And we did, a total of 460 horsepower with new heads and more cam. Okay, here's what our 2 stages of upgrades generated for their respective budgets over what we started out with. Proving that Hemis love making power and the companionship of power adders. Horsepower is back, now at the official headquarters of the Tennessee Pioneer Power Association. Between tractor pull events here, members can come out for testing and tuning. That's a slightly modified 1937 Alice Chambers pulling 40,000 pounds.
Well, we're not here to test antique power, quite the opposite. In fact, what this is all about is to test the pulling performance of this Ford F-150 before and after one of Bully Dog's GT gas tuners.
I think we're going to pull this thing out of the park.
That is, after a couple of baseline pulls. First, a stock pull and 2-wheel drive. And although the sled's got a computer to measure distance,
202 foot.
we'll use a cone for visual reference. So back to square one for a second baseline run in 4-wheel drive. on 241 feet is going to be hard to beat.
39 feet further in four-wheel drive than you did in two.
Awesome.
I think that this kind of measurement is really fun. Plus, it gives a real clear measurement of what something does. We made it so all the gas vehicles are one tuner and all the diesels are one tuner. So 2 products and you cover everything, kind of makes it a little easier for people to have the product on the shelf and ready when the customer walks in. It's one of the only tuners in the gas market that has a gauge as well as being able to download all in one unit.
Now loaded with the Bully Dog GT tune, we got the green light for a follow-up pull in 2-wheel drive.
More feet.
Awesome. Almost got that 15.
You going for 15?
Oh,
That's
yeah.
pretty good though.
Oh yeah, that's really good.
Now we're going with 4-wheel drive next, right?
4-wheel drive.
Finally, the 150 with the tune, running in 4-wheel drive.
Are you believing this? 33 more feet.
33 feet?
Congratulations.
Oh man, that's what I call awesome.
I thought you were going to go off the track.
So the truck goes back to the Alexander Ford dealership in Franklin, Tennessee, and we're finished, right? Apparently not. These guys from Bully Dog are totally off the hook.
I know this is going to be a maiden voyage for me.
Sorry, Mike. That's the owner of the car.
You heard right. In fact, it's a Dodge Charger with only one modification, a Vortex supercharger, and now the same GT tuner that was in the truck. Any predictions from the Tractor Club guys?
Massive carnage.
I just hope it don't break.
Let's go with it.
I'll
Let's
be
see.
interested to see if it'll even move.
If that were your Dodge Charger, would you be doing it?
Oh, no. Slowly go into it, put it to the floor when you're going, and then when it stops pulling, don't hit the brakes or it's coming through the car.
Not bad, man. Not bad.
141 feet.
Not really? Well, we can do better than that. Let's do it again.
Sure did impress me. I didn't think it even moved the sled. It done a real good job.
Lost a $20 bet. You moved the sled. That was wrong.
We could and maybe should quit now and declare victory. But the fans want more. So one more pull, and with a cloud of dust and a hearty hi-ho Bully Dog, this time Jared and the Charger go an extra 14 feet, 155 in all.
I think we better give this thing a rest. So.
I think so.
I think it went pretty well. Car pulled pretty good, stayed together.
Well, you did it. You guys did it.
Almost lifted the front end on the way down the track.
Chances are you won't be pulling any tractor sleds with your truck or car, but who wouldn't enjoy the tuner's benefits in the real world? Out on the road, hauling, passing, or just plain cruising.
That's amazing.
You're watching Horsepower. For a DVD copy of this episode, just go to PowerBlockTV.com and order your copy for just $5.95 plus shipping and handling. Start your own Horsepower collection, delivered right to your door from the Power Block.
It's rare here on Horsepower to get a follow-up visit from one of our past project cars, but today we've got a motive for bringing this Charger back into custody. More than a year ago, we responded to a call from our local sheriff's department. They wanted to see if we could improve the performance of one of their Dodge Charger patrol cars. The driver, Deputy Brian Welch, liked the car, but thought it could stand improvements in power, fuel economy, and braking. We first loaded the 5.7 Hemi with a better flowing air raid intake system and a Powerade throttle body spacer. Then to get rid of the used up air, a set of JBA shorty headers backed by a Flowmaster catback exhaust system. To optimize all that in and out flow, we gave the computer a new tune with a Hypertech power programmer. We saw horsepower gains of up to 27, with assurance that Brian would also notice some better fuel economy. But we didn't stop there, so to speak. Braking is just as vital as acceleration in a cop car, so for longer life and better braking, we installed some EDC slotted rotors along with their yellow stuff pads. Right away, 60 to 0 test showed improvements, and hopefully they would last a lot longer too.
Overall, the car is great. I've averaged probably 4 more miles per gallon, and the brakes, I've got over 50,000 miles just on one set of brake pads and rotors that you put on it. Not squealing, they're not getting hot, they're not getting mushy, anything like that, like our old brakes used to.
Normally, we would turn the rotors, which are good for many more miles of use, but we got to take special care of our law enforcement friends, so we're putting on new ones. These yellow stuff pads have a red break-in coating that's added to help them bed in quicker. We even put Brian to work to finish the other brakes. He may be off duty from his real job, but not in this place. Hey, this guy's got potential. So with new pads and rotors all the way around, Brian's Dodge is ready to go back on the streets. Who knows, maybe we'll see him again after another 52,000 miles.
See you later.
Preferably not in the rearview mirror.